What up, everyone? It's your boy, Satemangale, the Reverend of the Revolution. Welcoming you to another edition of your Daily Revolution, the podcast that helps you to wake up, turn your brain on, and to prosper every single day in every part of your life. Today's topic: stop being a hypocrite. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The other night I was out at a carnival. Right, and there was this carnival, there's booths, there was a silent auction, there was food, there was a bounce house, great times. And this man comes up to me and he says, "I know that you coach men and women for a living. I want to do what you do. What's the first step?" And without hesitating, I looked at him and said, "Let me just make sure I understand what you're asking. You like the thought of doing what I'm doing?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "And you want to coach and help people?" And he said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, tell me a little bit more." So he told me about what he wants to do. He wants to have corporations hire him, pay him big sums of money so that he can help them train their employees and their people and make this transition as they level up. And as I listened to him, I knew right where to go. I said, "Well, my friend, here's the golden question for you. Have you hired your own coach?" To which he responded, "No." "Why would I do that?" Aha! There was the hypocrisy. See, this man wants to make a lot of money, and I asked him, "Well, how much do you want to make?" And he said, "Well, and that's always an awkward question. If someone is not absolutely clear, then they typically go into the hiding mode. Well, it's not about money. And I kind of just slap him in the face and say, "Why don't you just tell me the truth? What do you want to make?" He's like, "Well, I'd love to make at least $1 million a year, doing that, $100,000 a month." I'm like, "Fantastic. So let me just get this straight. You want people to pay you, but you are unwilling to pay your own coach. Is that right?" And he sat there with a grin on his face. You see, this principle is really simple. Jesus talked about this when he said, "Don't be a hypocrite." Well, it's easy in the physicality, like the fitness and nutrition world. If you are grossly obese and overweight, it's almost unlikely that you're going to have people that want to give you money because you don't look the part. Spiritually speaking, you can't fake this one either. If someone is in tune, if a listener or a congregation is in tune, and the preacher, the teacher, the missionary, the evangelist, the bishop, the pastor, whatever that person is trying to teach them a principle, but that person's not living it, it's really easy to just understand this person is being a hypocrite. It's like hearing the man talk about how he can't stand porn and he gets so offended when other men look at porn, and then it's easy to know that he is himself addicted to porn. Or it's the man who is really living in poverty and scarcity, but he walks around flashing and talking about how much money he makes. It just doesn't work. So this crazy principle, right? We oftentimes want other people to do for us what we are unwilling to do for ourselves. With this individual, he said, "Well, how do you get people to write you a big check, a significant check?" So tell me, what do you say? And I'm like, "Listen, it's not even about what I say. Yeah, there's a little bit of technique and some sales involved. But you know what it really is?" And he's like listening to me. There's music going on and there's people around. And he leans and I said, "It's the fact that I have hired my own coach. I've got multiple coaches. I'm some $300,000+ on my own coach." And he could not believe it. His jaw almost hit the ground. He's like, What? I said, "Yeah. The fact that I write checks to my coaches every single month or once a year, whoever I'm working with, it just gives me that much certainty that I know this is how important coaching is. It gives me certainty to be able to tell someone else, you need to write me a check for me to help you." See, brothers and sisters, take a look at your life right now. Where are you being a hypocrite? Where right now are you being a total pretender, a total chump, and a total hypocrite? Do you preach, hey, your body's power, but yet you don't exercise, you don't feed it and fuel it with greens and good nutrients? Do you talk a good game spiritually? Do you put your white shirt and your tie on and show up to church and go through all the check marks, check mark, check mark, check mark, and yet you are so disconnected from God, revelation doesn't even find its way to your heart and mind? And while you look good on the outside, you're corrupting on the inside. Jesus talked about this type of person, a hypocrite. In your relationships, do you preach on Facebook? Oh, my marriage is so awesome. Do you preach how much you love your kids, but in private, you're a hypocrite? You don't really give them time? I had a gentleman over here at my house earlier, and he looks at my wife, and he says to her, does he take care of you? And he sure puts on a good show on social media that he does, and I just smiled. And, of course, my wife looks at him and is like, oh, no. He's everything and more. Like, he doesn't post nearly half of the things that he does for me and the boys. See, I'm real. I tell the truth about what I want and who I am. I learned that lying and having a foundation of being dishonest just doesn't work. And if you're weak in your life right now, and if you're not getting the results you want in your life right now, well, it's because you're a freaking hypocrite. You are a hypocrite, my friend. You say one thing, you do another. You do one thing, but you say another. You're so out of integrity and so out of alignment, it doesn't work. And then in business, you want people to coach and to pay you, but you're unwilling to do that for yourself. You want people to make sacrifices, but you yourself aren't willing to make the same sacrifices. This is why it's so fun to have my boys come with me to CrossFit. On Saturday mornings, my sons come with me to the box, or they come with me to the UFC gym, and they watch me sweat, and they watch me struggle, and they watch me do all kinds of things. And yet when we leave, I tell them, boys, what'd you learn about Daddy? Was Daddy tired? And they're like, yeah, you were really tired. You weren't in first place. I'm like, I know. I wasn't in last, but I wasn't in first, but was Daddy working hard? And like, yeah. I was like, yeah. See, I tell my boys, I will never have you do things that I don't do. When I have my boys clean the house every single day and do their chores, it's because I do my chores every single day. When I tell my boys to say their prayers, it's because I pray every single day. When I tell my boys we can do hard things, because I do hard things every day, it will give you more power to live the life that you want your ideal clients to live. That's one of the greatest things I've learned from my coaches and mentors. As a coach, as a consultant, as a mentor, as a parent, as a business owner, as a leader, one of the greatest things that you can do, if not the greatest, is to live the life that your ideal client would say, wow, I want to hire that person. Wow, I like how I feel around this person. Wow. How does that person live? Look at the way they live. Look at the money or the wealth that they have. Look how kind he is or she is. There's a quote that once said, live your life in a manner so that those who don't know God but know you would want to know God because they know you. This is about being in integrity, being in alignment. So even if you're not a coach, just ask yourself the same questions. Are you in alignment with what you preach and what you tell people? Or are you only a preacher but not a liver? See, if you're someone who is a doer of the word and who lives what he or she preaches, I promise you, people will feel your certainty. And if you want people to write you big checks, then start writing the big checks yourself. You want people to pay you on time and early? Pay your bills on time and early. Pay up front, pay fast. Karma is this beautiful thing when you understand how it really works. So when I write checks to people and people invoice me and I pay them as fast as I can, why do I do that? It's really simple. Because that's how I want to get paid. I want people to write me checks. I want certainty. Why do I work out so hard physically? Because I want my boys to know that this is how we live as a Ngali. Why do I study scriptures and pray? For a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons is real simple. I want my boys to know this is how we do it. So stop being a hypocrite today. Check yourself with your body and physicality. Are you being a hypocrite? Check yourself spiritually. Check yourself with your relationship, your marriage, your children. And of course, check yourself in business. If you want people to pay you, but you aren't paying out on the other side, of course it's not going to work. Best thing you could do is write a check, even if you don't even coach that much of that person. Write a check just like pay out so you can get paid? Will you stop being a hypocrite? And if you will have more peace, more joy, and more happiness. I promise you that. Get rid of the hypocrisy. This is your boy, Sitem Mangala, reminding you if you're going to create a life of real radical results, a life that you love, it's going to require you to get into a relentless pursuit with a ruthless commitment to pay the piper every single day so that you can get to the top of your mountains where your prize, your promised lands, your possibilities are waiting for you. The revolution has begun. I'm out. For more info on joining the revolution and living your greatest life of prosperity today, go to www.yourdailyrevolution.com and join us in waking up, turning your brain on, and prospering today.